hello, my name is Kira. I don't ever do film reviews, but man, do I just ever need to get Sinners off my chest and give it to some of you, alright? So, I want to keep this brief. I want to keep this spoiler free, except for a brief little rundown for people who don't know anything about this film. It's set in the 1930s. Twins, Smoke and Stack, come back from Chicago. They've been away fighting in World War I, and then being in Chicago making money off the mobs. They get their cousin Sammy, who's very good at playing the guitar and singing the blues, because they want to create a juke joint, which was a place for the local black community to come together and listen to music and dance and drink and sing and just generally try to forget reality for a little while. And opening the juke joint doesn't really go as planned. There, that's my little summary. So, man, there's so much going for this movie. Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther and Creed, finally he's doing something that isn't connected to any other franchise. And he wrote it, he directed, and it doesn't feel like he got tunnel vision the way that sometimes, you feel that directors get that when they wrote it and they're directing, how it's like it has to be exactly how they feel. Like, he's either amazing at both writing and directing, or he's willing to listen to people who are telling him when he needs to change something. So either of those things, Ryan Coogler was amazing as both the writer and the director for this. The actors. Michael B. Jordan played Smoke and Stack, and he was incredible, but we know that Michael B. Jordan is incredible. But all across the board, from main characters to the sidest of characters, there were no weak links. And there were a few people that I was like, I kind of recognize them. Hailey Steinfeld played a role. I know recently she's been doing like a lot of voice work, obviously as Gwen in Across the Spider-Verse movies, and then Vi in Arcane. But it was enough. I recognized her face. But I would say that she was probably the more culturally relevant person besides Michael B. Jordan. But otherwise, the fact that they got a complete unknown to play Sammy, Miles Caton, he was so good. He was incredible. The fact that they got a complete unknown to play such a major character really shows that they were going for talent, not famous faces that would draw people in to see the movie, right? Like, they weren't trying to cast Denzel Washington as anybody, or Zendaya. They weren't trying to bring people in through famous people. They were just relying on skill alone, and it really showed. The score is incredible. It was done by Ludwig Göransson, who has worked with Ryan Coogler many, many times. And what is great about the score is that it's not only beautiful, but it was utilized in such a way that was very effective. Like, when the music swells over everything or cuts out, it is done just with precision, and you can tell exactly what they were trying to do at the time. It's not like some movies where the score is, obviously beautiful and you want to listen to it, but it just overtakes everything. Hans Zimmer. So, score, that's another thing. And the songs that were sung, you got kind of competing musical genres. There's kind of like the down the river folk song stuff, and then there was the blues. And the competing genres was really, really cool to watch play out on the screen. And I really hope that some of these songs get picked as best originals, because I would love to hear Miles Caton actually perform them. Just give me goosebumps all over again. His voice is so good. The historical setting was incredible. Just the sets, the costuming, hair and makeup, everything just felt like they were really trying, like they'd done the research and then they were actually, putting it in. It wasn't like some period dramas nowadays that doesn't even feel like they're trying to be authentic at all. It was really going for that look for the 1930s. And for the story, it was obviously, like, this is set in the 1930s. This is Jim Crow era. This is people still being lynched. This is, we see white people and we worry that they'll say we spilled, liquor on them and they'll have us killed. And the thing that I did appreciate that, you get stuff like Green Book and, where it's like, oh, white people, we know you're not all racist. There's none of this. There's none of that. None of that in this movie. It's blatant, factual information that you just got to deal with. And it adds to the horrific element that this is what these people were dealing with. And there are small examples and greater examples of the subjugation of the people in this area. But it was also a celebration of the culture. And I think that is a really great achievement and really, really, really neat to watch. In terms of just going through the Academy Awards, basically, the cinematography was very good. It wasn't like some movies where you can tell that they're just trying to get beautiful shots, but they got beautiful shots anyway. And I really appreciate that it was a movie that a lot happens at night, but they did light it properly so you could actually tell what the heck was going on, It wasn't just dark, 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 dark. I can't see what anybody looks like. They actually did a really good job of lighting up the night. So props to lighting and cinematography. It looked gorgeous. And another thing is that I think that this is a movie that can appeal to everyone on some level if you're able to handle an R-rated movie. So this movie does have sex, and it has gore, and it has swearing. But it's like no more than, the average action movie these days, It's not like Terrifier, it's not like Friday the 13th, there's not these long gory sequences or anything like that. So if you're able to handle anything of like the action branch these days, you're going to be able to handle this movie. There was maybe one jump scare in the theater where a girl screamed and then she apologized to everyone. So it really isn't a traditional horror movie in the way that you might, see, oh my gosh, it's a horror movie. Nah, if you like action movies, if you like period pieces, if you like horror, if you just like good movies, I think this is worth checking out. Maybe it won't end up being your thing, but with, Rotten Tomato scores being in the 90s from audiences and from critics, I think it shows that this is a movie that is very universal, and you don't have to be a horror person to enjoy it. And then just talking about the horror, it's there. Like I said, the setting actually adds a lot to the horror element, just the setting in the 1930s. There are definitely supernatural elements and kind of, weird, creepy elements, but they never go overboard, and I don't know, it's an interesting movie that I think I would have to have people watch before I can really get into how they dealt with the supernatural horror in this movie, and why it was even chosen to be a horror movie in the first place. Why did they include the supernatural horror when they could have made it something else? I think that's something to talk about when people have seen the movie. That's when to get into the deep conversations about it. But I think it's a movie that's very universal and a lot of people can enjoy it. So overall, I would say probably 9.2, 92%, 93%. It's an incredible movie. Like I said, there are a few things that I wish could have been changed, but that's very personal to me. So, that's why it gets the 93 from me. it gets 100% from other people, probably gets 60% from other people, but for me, I highly recommend it for all the reasons that I listed. And in a little while, once more people have had a chance to go see this movie, I really hope to make some videos talking about the themes and some of the more interesting aspect of the movie, like why did they include the horror and all that stuff. So again, my name is Kira. If you would like me to do more film reviews, leave a comment below or like. I'm still a small channel trying to grow, and that really helps me out. So maybe I'll see you later. I hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you are. Bye.